Good afternoon, moms of master books. I am going to talk to you today on my Moderator Live about the courses that my students are going to be doing for the 2019-2020 school year. We really school year round. I have found that is better for my children. And so we actually start our courses in July. So next year, I keep having difficulty remembering my child will not be in second grade and that he will be a third grader. So next year, I will have a 4-year-old who will turn 5, and then I will have an 8-year-old who will turn 9 and a 12-year-old who will turn 13. I feel like I'm getting old. So for my third grader, he is going to be using Language Lessons for a Living Education 3. He is doing level 2 right now. He's doing great, has made awesome progress. If you guys want to see any of that, I've posted some of that in the group. Currently, he is already in Math Lessons level 3, and he is going to continue that. I'm just going at his pace. So far, he's been ahead in math. He thinks, hey, I get to see comments today. Sorry, I normally can't see comments, and I see you. Hi, Laura. Hi, Jennifer. He normally is ahead in math. It's just how he thinks, how he functions. And right now, I am like so impressed at how well he is doing with level 3. I mean, he's just knocking it out and not having any issues, and I love it. And it's boosted his confidence, which is huge for him. He was actually struggling with that. So these courses are helping that as well, which is just a double win. The other thing is, I'm not a really big planner. When I do planning, it's literally like a loop schedule, and that was at the beginning of the year to kind of get us in our routine. And once we got in our routine, you guys, we just didn't even mark off the loop schedule anymore. We just opened the book and went to the next thing. Sorry, I'm not a planner person. However, last night I sat down and said, okay, here are all these science options. I need you to pick one. I'll show you guys. He actually chose Soil, Sea, and Sky, mostly because of the Awesome Bugs book. If you haven't seen any of this book, I mean, it's just opposite. Of course, it's opposite. It's just weird and wonderful. For boys, they love it. So there's that book, there's the ecology book, and then, of course, the big book of Earth and Sky, which is just amazing. And that, I think, is what sold him. And so that is the courses that, the core, basically, that he's going to be doing. And then I'm going into like our family things. So we start every day with our morning basket. There's a video that I did on the elementary morning basket, which has been phenomenal for us this year, and I love it. So my children have not had what I call a lot of like apologetics. They've had Bible teaching, they've been in church their whole life. We've done devotionals and things like that, but for the apologetics part of that, I don't feel like they have like been hit hard with that, which is why we do that with our morning basket. Do you just go until you finish the book and then at their pace? On math, I think that's what Dominique Wilt, is it Wilt or Witt? I'm sorry, I have new glasses and still can't see. Anyways, yes, I do. On his math, even their language arts, I kind of just gauge my kids each day and say, like today, he actually did 2 full good pages of math. And if I would have probably said, here, do something else, he probably would have just kept right on going. Language arts, writing for him, that's why he's in level 2. His reading is pretty good. But he needed that extra for level 2. So what I do is I try to gauge, I try my hardest to do at least 1 day's worth from the lessons per day with him. Sometimes we'll do a little bit more. My story, I do it the same way with him. I just go straight through, and if he can do, I just gauge it off of him and what he can do that day. Some of you may not know this, but my children also are unique, aren't they all? But my boys have a higher IQ. However, they have other things going on as far as special needs, like ADHD is one of them. One of mine, the actual one that's going into 3rd grade, we're waiting to see. He's in vision therapy. He may be diagnosed with dyslexia. I'm not sure about that. I'm pretty sure that my 12-year-old has dysgraphia, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But anyway, so just to kind of give you a heads up on that, so you kind of understand where I'm coming from in a way as well. So I try to keep things simple and not overwhelm my children, but that's what I love about Master Books is the lessons are short and impactful, and they are retaining so much information. Like, it's just amazing. So for our morning basket, I'm actually going to be using the Elementary Apologetics, and it comes, this box set I actually bought separate. So I have the 8 books. So we will actually read through all of those 8, even though this teacher guide only does the first 1 through 6. And then this has, Jessica, one of our moderators, did a live video on this if you guys want to try to find that. But 30 Bible Doctrines. So in the front, it's more like storybook form. Sorry, you guys. And then in the back, it literally goes through doctrines. It gives you like scripture references and just helps you to be able to break it down and explain those doctrines to your kids. So again, my goal in homeschooling is also that my children know Jesus above everything else. And so I want them to be able to defend their faith, and that's why I'm really trying to hit them hard with some apologetics. Okay. The other family course that we're going to be doing is I teach a group science class. So we're going to be doing God's Design for the Physical World. It is slated for 3rd grade through 8th grade. However, the group class that I teach, we just did the old zoology this year, and it actually has like my youngest son, who's now 4, he just turned 4 in March. He was actually the youngest one, and then my oldest son was actually the oldest. We have some others that are coming in and did just come in, and they even have a 2-year-old that sits in our class, and he seems to enjoy it. And then they have a daughter who's 12 as well. So pretty much all of those people are returning. There's approximately 20, I'm guessing. But we're going to be doing this. And so we're going to be doing like the activities in the class. And then if they want to do the worksheet stuff at home, that's on them. But we're going to be discussing and really a hands-on approach using that course basically as our spine. And then in my home, some of you have probably seen that we are doing America's Story 1 through 3. And I decided to do this because even though we've done some, like we did My Father's World before we did Master Books, and so we did some of Adventures in U.S. History. And then we also last year did some of America's Story 2. And so I really wanted to just put it all together really good for them before my oldest has to go into a world history. And he also agrees. And so we're trying to do some of this, and we're using a notebooking timeline. So I'm basically just notebooking. They notebook. We use little paint daubers for the date. We do 4 dots, put the year, and then sometimes I kind of try to like guide that a little bit on, okay, you need to draw something like this using what the teacher guide might say. Sometimes I just let them do whatever it is that they learned that day. And I'm actually shocked at how well my boys are creative. They love Legos. Now, one of them more, likes the guide. One of them is more just let me make my own. And so they're creative in their own way. So I knew that they both enjoyed either drawing or coloring or painting or whatever. So this has worked out very well because it's more of kind of like an art notebook for them. But we do add our vocabulary in. It's working great. I can't recommend it enough. Another thing that I'm adding to America's Story, along with some other books, and again, if you do a search for my name and America's Story, I think it should come up. But the Wilberforce activity book. There's also a book that is called The Slave's Champion that I will probably have my older son read. And this has just different activities in it. I kind of wanted you guys to see it. I know it's not one of those things that's like plastered out there where everyone knows about it. And so anyways, it's just 24 ready to use lesson plans, Wilberforce activity book, and we're going to be adding that in with America's Story when we get there. And so that is our family courses. So we're doing a science together, we do our history together, we do our Bible together, and then they each have their own math and language arts. So that brings me to my oldest son. Let me see here. Hello, Kasha. Stephanie, my 13-year-old has dysgraphia. It's a challenge, a great one. So I'm going to have him reading. He's a really good reader. He loves to read. I'm going to be having him read some of The Fight for Freedom and then America's Struggle to Become a Nation, just along with America's Story. And then he loves science. My boys love science. And so they each keep asking, even though we are doing a group course, we really only meet once a week and just do a few things throughout. I already had added God's Design for Life this year along with it. And anyways, they just love it and keep asking me for more. And so I'm like, okay, how much science can I do? So my oldest, he really wanted to do Life Science Origins course that's for high school. And I was like, okay, that might be a little hefty. Can we wait until we can get a credit for that? So I talked with Anna, and she actually gave me this course. And so he is going to be using these books. And it actually has like a few labs. I know there's a DNA kit and then slides and a microscope, because one of the things he really wanted to do this year is get a microscope and start looking at specimens. So that's what he's going to do. Another book that I have that I will be adding in with that, just for some extra fun. I really love these Tyner books, by the way. If you don't have any of them, they're great. They are black and white, but they have oh goodness, like the questions and everything is already like right there within it, and it's just, they're just great books. So anyways, I like those, so we're going to be adding that in for him. And then brings me to his language arts. So this is my child that I pulled from public school at the end of his 3rd grade year. He is now in 6th grade, so it was exactly right around 3 years ago. It has been a struggle. Math has been a struggle. We've done like every math program out there, I feel like. He did fairly well with math lessons, and then he also had some anxiety and things like that, and so that led us to frustration, maybe I should say it like that. And then I also didn't realize, like, we didn't have the diagnoses that we have now. So I did not realize everything that was going on. I didn't understand that the boredom that comes after you're doing something. So I got smart, maybe. And this year, when January hit, I started thinking, okay, what can I add into our day that will not overwhelm them, but will bring in a change and ignite I don't know, like a new something to just be like, oh, hey, this is not the norm, and break the boredom for him. And it worked. He actually uses math from somewhere else, and right now it is working. I'm a little scared, just being honest, because I want to make sure that he understands. He's normally really good about understanding the why behind things, but I know that Masterbooks does that. And so that's one of those courses that I'm like, I'm just waiting to see how this all plans out and works. So that being said, it leads me to language arts. Again, I said I'm pretty sure he has dysgraphia. Normally when I've tried to discuss what's going on with him, we've used writing strands. It actually was a great course for him last school year and worked well. And then he gets to this point, and then he just gets frustrated and he goes into bad brain. And I have all of this at the beginning. I didn't realize what was going on, and I'm telling you all this because I feel like it will help somebody, and I'm sorry if I go over my time, but it has just been, we kept hitting walls. Every time we would do something, we would hit a wall. So then I even took him back and we did some of language lessons 3. Now this is a child who can score on their standardized testing off the charts in language arts. He scores like 90-something percentile in math. Yet when it comes to what mom is seeing, there's like holes here and there, and just things that aren't all coming together to make it all blend. And I know that he has creativity. He can create stories and things like that, but it's the actual writing of it that causes him literally pain from his hand all the way into his back. And that's not cool. Yet he did it anyways. I don't feel like he's trying to be defiant or anything like that. So it's like, what do we do? So last night we had even tried Jensen's grammar. Last night I sat down with him, and he actually saw me making up these things for today. And he was like, I'm going to do Jensen's grammar. And I was like, well, I mean, you said you liked it. And, he's like, well, I just don't know. And I was like, he's like, well, define like. And I'm like, well, no, you define like. And so we kind of went through this thing, and I'm like, I keep asking him, like, look, just tell me you don't like something isn't helping me to help you. I need to know where the problem lies. And so last night was probably the first time that he didn't go into full bad brain, and he was actually able to communicate with me that it is the writing for him. It's just such a struggle to actually do the writing part. And I've tried typing. I know some of you will be like, oh, just have him type. Typing also hurts him. So I'm really not sure what to do other than some speech to text. And because I know, like, the intellect is here. And so that's not the problem. And the ability to communicate is there. That's not the problem. And so when I broke it down, I decided, I had language lessons 4. And so I decided, yep, we're going to this. Here's why. I know that this is not a watered down course. Now, does it look gentle? And a lot of people open it and like, oh, that's too easy. I'm like, did you really look inside of it? Because I have sat down and went through the entire thing and have looked at the activities and the assignments in here, and it is not a watered down course. And so I have decided that it is best for us to go through level 4 and level 5 until level 6 comes out. I think that the amount of writing, honestly, even on the copywork page, when he saw it, because he's done level 3, he was like, I can't stand this page. It makes me like he immediately goes into bad brain when he sees that page. And I was like, hey, I can modify that. Like, I have a degree in teaching. I know how to modify. We will just modify it. So I have decided I'm actually going to be taking the scriptures, typing them, cutting them apart, and then he will have to take them and like put them back together and glue them on his paper how they should be. It takes away the writing part, but still gives him the part that I want him to know, which is the Word of God. And then he also likes to draw and likes art. After a while, if he's like sketching, it does hurt. So we've talked about the art part, and like Kristen said, focusing in on one part helps them to be able to really see, notice and pay attention to detail. Even if it's just one thing within that artwork that he picks out to draw, that's what he's going to be doing. And so that's kind of how I'm going to modify this. I will also, like, if he has to do any longer writing, we will be doing some speech to text using our technology that we have. The other thing I wanted to say is the Christian Reading Companion for 50 Classics. I like the way that Stobaugh questions kids because he makes them think. And with this child, I may not do this with all of my other ones, but with this child, I know his intelligence level. I know how he thinks. I know how he can dissect something and how he can see it from a different angle. And so I'm not doing all of these suggestions with my child. He's 12. I don't feel like all of these books in here are for a 12-year-old, and really they're not. I mean, even, I think it says like 5th through 12th grade, if my memory is correct. And so I will be picking specific ones just to add in a little bit more literature. Again, he loves to read. So I'm trying to add that part in, like extra, more than what's in language lessons. And then allow him to read for enjoyment. And he listens to audiobooks every night. Like, he's getting a ton of stuff. So I just wanted to kind of quickly, hopefully, encourage you that if you've got a kid who is struggling because maybe they missed something somewhere, or maybe they just didn't get it, it doesn't mean that they are not intelligent. I can look at level 4, and you can even ask me a question about some of the things in it, and I'll be like, I can't remember. I have no idea. And so it's not bad to go back and lay that firm foundation so then they can move forward. I want him to be successful in life. I mean, this is my kid who's out helping his dad build things, who's, mowing our yard, things like that. He's very helpful. It's not that he's being lazy or anything like that. It's just this particular task of writing is is horrible for him. And so I have to realize that and say, okay, where can I meet you where you are so you can be successful? Because that's the whole key. That's the whole point. Well, not the whole point, but a main point of homeschooling is so my children can be successful and then I'm not following someone else's guide. So again, if you've got a kid who you think needs to go back to level 4 and they're 12 or 13, guys, please do it. Don't feel bad about it. You know, he knows. He even asked me last night, what level is that? And I said, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't. What matters is that I'm meeting him on the level and at the skill that he is at. And wow, I just now see there are tons of more. It didn't keep going. Hi, Rashonda, I love you too. Yes, so The Amazing Grace of Freedom. That's another book with the Wilberforce activity. Hey, Laura, will you link that if you're still watching? Mine is younger. Allow her to ask me to write for her. Yeah, so I have done some things with my second grader, my one that's in second grade right now. Like when we first started language lessons, I co-wrote with him. I would write things in highlighter, or I would write it in pen and he would trace it in highlighter. Or if it was copy work, he would actually trace the copy work with a highlighter. Things like that to help break him in. He's a really good speller. But anyways, okay. I'm trying to see if there's any questions. Backtrack to the beginning of the year. I see his confidence growing, and that's huge because I'm going to cry. But I don't want my kid to feel like he's failing every day, and there's no point. And if you go into bad brain, you aren't learning. You're just not. It's proven. Like psychology proves it. Everything else proves it. If you're in the middle of a fire, it's not the time to prepare for the fire. You got to have a plan, and that plan in place where you're not stressed when that fire comes and you just kick in, just like Randy talked about the other day in their homeschool. You know, when something in life happens and you have a storm come up, it's not the time to prepare for the storm in the middle of it. You have to be there and ready and, you know, implement things to where they can be successful and they can grow. Anyways, sorry. So I hope that helped you guys. I'm going to post on here pictures so you can see what each one of my kids are doing and you can see what we're doing together. So I think that's all. Thank you, Laura. Not ashamed of taking a step back. It's hard. Like we had to explain, not everything is a grade level. It's a level of skill. And wherever you are, it's just like if he wanted to go learn blacksmithing, you know, he's going to have to start out learning how to make his forge and, you know, make his tools and things like that before he can go make a knife. And so it's kind of the same concept. It's what skill level are you at and what are you ready for today? And what you're ready for today will help me to build on making you ready for something a year from now. So I just wanted to encourage you all, you know, go with what level they're at. We all like to be like, oh, my kid is ahead, but nobody wants to say, oh, my kid has had to go back a level. And that's okay too, because the whole point is that we are meeting them where they can learn and move forward. So I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I will be posting pictures again. Bye.